All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Tony. I am a program manager here at the Rudd Foundation, and I'm sitting with.
I'm Ethan Shea. I'm a Wichita State Rudd Scholar of the 2022 cohort, and I'm an exercise science major.
Awesome. Ethan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Overall, life has been exciting. Um, I've been reflecting a lot. I think currently there's a lot of heaviness in the air. But with that being said, really focusing on the positive parts of life that we can focus on, which is like this conversation.
Right.
I know we haven't had a conversation, a one on one in a while, so I'm excited to see how this podcast episode unravels.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited.
So, how's senior year going for you?
It's senior year. It's bittersweet because I'm excited to go on and make something out of my life. I mean, this has been the goal the whole time is to go to college and um, get a degree and get to do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, just leaving this organized, constructed what I'm going to do every day. I'm going to do my classes. I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to just keep going. Once you get out of this education, you're running your own life, and while it sounds super freeing, it's also nerve wracking.
Mm-hmm. What do you think life will be like after you graduate?
Well, I was accepted to Cleveland University in Kansas City to get my doctorate of chiropractic, hopefully. I was accepted a little over 2 years ago. I applied really early and somehow I got provisional acceptance. But yeah, so the goal is to go there. So I guess I will have a few more years of organized schooling, but it's going to be a lot harder. They're one of their lightest credit hours or workloads for a semester is like 29 credit hours.
Wow.
And they do it year round. It's 3 trimesters a year because
Mm-hmm.
it's over the summer as well. So I'll be having 3.5 years of 29-ish credit hours, and that'll just be my entire life
Mm-hmm.
until I make it out and maybe open my own practice and work and have a family.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever asked you what really drew you to be a chiropractor.
Really, chiropractic. It's kind of funny. I mean, when I was in like early high school, I guess I really didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do yet, and so like I just think, okay, well, what am I good at, kind of thing, or what is something that like really captivates me? Because one of my biggest fears is to work a job for the rest of my life that I just hate, that I just wake up and I don't want to go there. That just sounds like a terrible life to live. So I was just really trying to think of what's something I enjoy doing, and I really struggled with that because yeah, there's things that you enjoy doing or you have fun with, but I feel like myself personally, I'll pick up something I really like and I'll love it for 3 4 months, and then I find something else I really love, and sometimes I just need a little chaos or a little change. um, so I was really nervous about that, but when I thought about, instead of what I really thought that I'd enjoy for a long time, I just thought about what goals and what I want my end life to look like. And I
Mm-hmm.
just know that I want to have a family. I want to stay fit. I want to be able to just spend time with them, but I also want to be able to make the money to support them
Mm-hmm.
financially. So I kind of just thought of jobs that had a flexible schedule, but also involve being like active or just like out there, social, and also pull in a decent amount of money. And that's when I kind of thought of chiropractic. I'd always watch those YouTube videos of the cracking, and it's just kind of fun, entertaining, satisfying to watch. And then I was just thinking, I was like, well, they make pretty good money. And as a chiropractor, if you own your own practice, you can make your own hours. Some chiropractors are only open 3 days a week. Um, and so with that, I could pull in money. I could have time with my family and support them and live the rest of my life like that.
Mm-hmm. You said a word earlier. You were talking about chaos or chaotic. When you think into the future about, you talked about like having your family, being able to support them in that way. I'm curious if we can bring it to your college experience since you are graduating this year. What has been the most chaotic that you felt in college? How did you kind of navigate that, especially now that you're graduating, then you're moving forward into another 3+ years of school? How do you balance that? level-headed Ethan versus the life should be fun, life should be extravagant at points? What does that look like for you?
That's a good question. When I first got here my freshman year, I was a recluse. I mean, it wasn't a good thing. I would go to the gym, which was good. I would go to class, fantastic. Don't skip classes. Um, but I had like almost no social life. I moved from a small town into this big school, and I was just kind of afraid of rejection. I didn't want to go out and make friends. I was like, let me just handle what I need to do, stay on top of my fitness, stay on top of my classes. So I did that, and it was terrible. I mean, it was the most boring and lonely year of college I'd had. Um, I mean, I'd start to see familiar faces in classes, so then I'd kind of open up more and more and meet some friends, and then I became very social, and then I started missing some classes, maybe not going to the gym as much or staying up late. And so that's when I kind of first realized that I need to find a balance. Um, like I said, I like that chaos, but with that chaos, you need to find an in between so that you aren't giving up your responsibilities.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's trial and error. So the next year, my sophomore year, I'd say was pretty solid. I would go out and hang out with my friends, but I also made sure that I was going to classes, still going to the gym. Maybe not as much as before, but kind of that in between, like I said. Um, and then to still fulfill that fun that I wanted, like I said, I'd hang out. Um, and then what you said, something that's probably the most chaotic that I had
A fun
endured.
story, yeah.
Yeah. Um, my sophomore year, I decided I wanted to join the army. So I kind of had thought of the idea a lot in high school when I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and I didn't think that I'd be able to afford college. I was thinking, well, if I went and joined the army, I'd be able to go to college. Well, then receiving the Red Scholarship and realizing that the financial burden isn't there and that I'm going to be able to go to college, I was obviously ecstatic. But it was something that was always in the back of my mind, maybe because I kind of do chase chaos or a little something different. I felt like it was something I still wanted to do. So I took the second semester of my sophomore year off and I left to do my basic training for the Army. And now I'm in the National Guard. And that helps with that change that I need now. Like I said, the chaos. Basically, I feel like chaos might be a negative word to use or kind of an overwhelming word, but I mean just some sort of variety and change. So I get to go to classes, I get to go to the gym, I get to hang out with my friends, and then one week in a month I go and I uh, do my drill for the army and get to feel accomplished, get to feel like I did something, and kind of have variation in what I'm doing day to day. It just keeps it exciting, keeps me wanting to keep going.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe chaos isn't the right word, but maybe exhilarating.
Yes,
I
just
didn't know that you had joined the army in your sophomore year, but then the way you're describing it, I think it makes a lot of sense in knowing you, where there is a lot of that exhilarating nature of being in the military, but then also that structure. So there is a balance, if
right.
not like a very wide sense of balance. You talked a little bit about fitness. Can you share with us how fitness got into your life? And then I kind of want to ask you about the cast that you're wearing. How can we go from point A to point B? I think that's a fun story for us to hear.
Yes, for sure. So fitness, it all started in high school. Before high school, I like moved around a lot as a child. But for a good chunk of that time, it was basically grade school and middle school. I lived in Nebraska and I went to a really big school. And I had never done sports at a young age. I moved so often that it just wasn't really a thing that I even thought of or really was introduced to. Um, but I always enjoyed watching it. And being in like middle school and all your friends are in it and you're not, I was like, well, I want to do this, but I had no knowledge and I was just too nervous. But then moving to high school, I moved to a small town and everybody and their mom plays the sports. So I decided I'd give it a shot. I tried out for the football team and I made it. I ended up being pretty good. I ended up starting before my freshman year was even over. And then because of that, I tried other sports. I tried track as well. And then my junior year, I tried basketball. ended up really liking that, and I was the captain of the basketball team, football team my senior year. Um, so really, it started with wanting to be a part of what everybody else is doing, and then really kind of falling in love with organized sports and the competition that it gives you, a little more of that adrenaline, I guess, um, and just having something to do, a goal. And then because of that, it just kind of stuck. Once I was out of high school and I didn't have that organized sport anymore, I kind of struggled at first because you're like, well, what do I do now? And no, there's no coach blowing a whistle and yelling at you to go to the gym. You kind of got to find that motivation in yourself. So I mean, I was just wanting to have a goal like that again, wanting to set goals for myself, like scoring a touchdown or getting so many yards this year, this season, getting so many points in this basketball game. I just wanted those goals because every time I had one of those set in front of me, it made it so much easier to do something with myself. So I needed to start doing it for myself. And I was like, well, I want to gain this much weight or get this much stronger. And so the gym just became a regular thing for me. It's just something that raises my self esteem, keeps me motivated. I'll set myself a goal, get there. I mean, sometimes you plateau, but you just keep working and eventually you'll get there. And that was the growth and the goals that I needed to stay fit and have something to do.
Mm-hmm. What's your typical workout look like throughout the week? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 5 days a week?
It's definitely been a lot less this year. My senior year, there's been a bigger change, and because I'm going to chiropractic school, and I'm going to be having so much class, I'm not going to have the ability to really work outside of class. So the financial part of that is scary to me. Uh, so I work a lot now to try and save money for that. So I haven't been able to get in the gym as much as I can. I try to go at least 3 times a week now, where before it was more like 5 or 6 times, just because I was really on the grind and wanting to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
You will get busier in college. There's going to be sometimes you're busier, sometimes you're not. The semesters change, your classes, everything. But finding the balance and being able to know that maybe I'm not going to be able to do it this semester because I have these classes and this work schedule, but knowing that you'll be able to make up for it next time that you have the availability and not to just get overwhelmed and give up or try and cram everything in there and start lacking in all of those areas because you're trying to do too many things at once.
Mm-hmm. Where are you working now?
I work for FedEx.
Mm-hmm.
I deliver packages. I get to drive all day. I love to drive and I love to kind of move and sweat. So, I mean, coming from a small town in high school, I worked on a ranch as well. So, kind of getting dirty and being physical is something I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, going to school to be a chiropractor, and that's a little different. But I had a couple internships in previous years and kind of got that education, got accepted in chiropractic school. So I didn't really feel the need to continue
Mm-hmm.
interning, but doing a job that maybe I have a little fun doing and I get to pull in some money to save for chiropractic school. So
What's been your most favorite internship or job so far throughout college?
I would have to say iCryo. I worked at iCryo, which is a health and wellness spa. Um, Sounds really fancy when you say spa, but that's not really the case. It's kind of just where athletes or older people that are active or maybe people with injuries uh, come in, and we have a number of amenities that you can use to basically get back to doing those athletic things and living that healthy lifestyle. We have a cryo chamber. It's like a giant freezer that you step into. Gets down to negative 170 degrees. So cools your body, gets that inflammation. It's going to obviously help with inflammation. It's going to help with recovery. It's going to help with rest. You actually burn calories while you're in there. There's just this long list of benefits. There's saunas there. They do IVs for energy, anti-aging, stuff like that. Um, Red light bed. It's basically just all around all of these things that you can do to keep your body fit and well.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that because I was able to work with customers and them coming in and saying maybe this is my story, this is what I do, these are my goals, these are my hindrances. How can you help me?
Hmm.
So that was my first introduction to basically what I'll be doing as a chiropractor. I'm going to have someone come in, tell me what their goals are, what they're wanting to get to, what's keeping them from that, and basically prescribing what I can do to help them. So I got to do that. I got to meet a lot of people, met a lot of chiropractors through there that I would later intern for and stuff. So yeah, that was great, both in the marketing aspect and just learning how to work with customers and speak with them and get over the fright of not wanting to talk to people.
Hmm. You were talking a lot about the experience you had with your internships, but then you also highlighted that you want to open up your own chiropractic office. How do you envision that? What does that look like for you? Kind of like a big team, a smaller team, family feel? Have you thought much about that so far and how you would design your own studio?
So it is something I have thought about or considered at least. Being honest, going into opening your own practice, there's a lot that goes into it. It's a huge investment because not only are you coming out of class most likely in debt, um, you're also going to go further in debt to have to purchase a um, just some sort of place to hold your practice, all of the stuff that you're going to need inside of there, a team if you want. So I think honestly, what's going to make me feel most confident is I'm going to work as an associate out of school, kind of get my feet wet, learn what I like and what I don't like on top of the internships I've already had. I have a notebook that I've had for the past 3 years over all the internships I've had. I annotate and write the things that I really love about certain practices and the things not so much. This way, I have a list and I have this idea and vision of once I do get my feet wet and I'm more confident in what I'm doing, and maybe financially I'm in a better spot, I can put in that investment to open my own practice and just refine it exactly how I want with
Hmm.
all the things I love. So I don't have an idea of exactly what it would look like yet. There's obviously things that I do really like and that I don't, but I'm going to kind of ease into it, build up my confidence first, and then tackle that.
Do you see that being somewhere in Wichita or Kansas, or what does that look like for you?
So I don't really have ties necessarily anywhere. So it is just such a big world. I mean, there's so many places I could go. I could go anywhere I wanted. Um, which sounds awesome, but it also sounds terrifying. I've always been someone that's a kind of a creature of habit, and I really love consistency, and I always hate to leave the people that I have around me. Leaving for college, that was really difficult. You leave your friends and you're alone again. But now I've built that stuff here. But every time you do that, it might be scary, but you know that with time, you're going to figure it out and you're going to be happy and you're going to build those relationships with new people all over again. So I don't really have an idea of where. I don't have a preference either. I think I'm just going to wait for opportunities to come or pursue opportunities that I see in front of me and see where it takes me. It's kind of a blessing that I don't have any roots. It sounds kind of bad, but because of that, I have that opportunity to really choose and do what I want.
Hmm. When you look at your college career, what's one thing that you've really learned about yourself through all of this?
Um, if I'm being totally honest, uh, in high school, I feel like I didn't struggle a ton. Like I didn't really have to study a lot for tests and things like that. And then getting to college, you realize it's a little different. You need to actually pay attention. You need to be your own coach, I guess. So, like I said, in high school, you have someone kind of doing that for you, telling you what to do all the time. And then coming to college, you realize you got to motivate yourself. And I just thought that that was going to be impossible. I've always been a person that's just like words of affirmation. I just want to hear someone uh, proud of what I'm doing, and knowing that I'm doing it for someone made it really easy for me um, because I just wanted to reach a goal and have them see it and have them be proud. So in college, that's not necessarily the case until you build those relationships around you. So something that like I'm really uh, happy about is that I learned to want to do things for myself and to want these own goals rather than for everyone else and for the eyes that are on you. Um, it's a good thing to want to be able to accomplish a lot and for the people you care, but it's an even greater thing to want to accomplish those things for yourself. So being able to learn that, I'm not just doing this for the eyes on me. I'm doing this for my future, and I'm doing this for me. Um, the idea that I'll get to do the job that I want to do and be able to raise a family and be with them and make memories. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, and that's something I want for myself. So being able to find that.
You were talking a little bit about this intrinsic motivation versus doing things for others or because of the eyes on you.
Mm-hmm.
How did you balance that, or how do you balance that, knowing that you have these goals for yourself? We have program managers here to kind of support you along the way, but also knowing you're not doing this for a program manager at the foundation, you're doing it for yourself. How do you really balance that, leaning into support versus leaning in on knowing your own capabilities?
Great question. I would say at first, I mean, the support that you get from the Rudd Foundation is everything. It's a world of difference. Coming out of high school, like I said, you don't have those eyes on you anymore. I guess in a way I did still because of the program managers and that motivation. And while I did learn I want to do things for myself, I know that while I'm doing that and I'm achieving these goals for myself, if I step off the trail or I slip a little bit, that I have people that will help catch me. So definitely lean into the support that you get from the Red Foundation because it's made a world of difference. Obviously, everyone's going to make mistakes, especially making a transition from high school to college and facing new endeavors. You don't know necessarily what's in front of you, but obviously, you're going to put your best foot forward. But having that foundation to catch you when you slip is everything I could ask for and everything that you can want. So balancing that is really knowing that these are the goals I have for myself and this is what I want to do. Um, but at the same time, you are still doing it for the people that care about you. And because there's those people there, they'll always be there to catch you and
Mm-hmm.
help you out. So,
Speaking of having someone catch you when you fall, I want to go back to the story about your cast. Can you can
okay.
you share with us what happened, what was going through your mind, or what does that even look like? It's a bright pink cast on your left arm. So what's the story behind that?
Yes. So, I was actually gone for my annual training for the Army. So I'm in the National Guard. So we do a weekend a month and then 2 weeks over the summer. Over that 2 weeks in the summer, we go out to what we call the field. The field isn't the same field every time, it's different. But when we refer to the field, we refer to like it's not a building that we sleep in. We sleep out in the middle of nowhere. Um, on cots or in the weapons that we bring out there. So what I do, I'm a 13 Bravo. I'm a cannon crew member. So basically, if you've ever seen a tank, it's like a tank but bigger. It's called a Paladin. That's what I operate. Uh, in the Paladin, it's like a tank, like I said, in the sense that it shoots a uh, round. So our rounds in the Paladin are 110 pounds apiece. Um, They're 155 millimeters in diameter. My job is I'm inside of the gun, the Paladin, and I load those rounds into the tube and put the propellant behind it, close the breech, and it shoots. Well, like I said, it's a 110-pound round, and they can shoot up to 9 miles. So it's a pretty large weapon. Well, inside of there, when you're loading those rounds, and you have that breech that's inside the tube, or the round inside the tube with the breech, once you shoot, the entire giant metal system just shoots and recoils back about 3 or 4 feet with a lot of force, obviously, pushing a projectile that big, that far. Well, while we were doing that, I was actually teaching some other soldiers the process or basically what we do in there because we're always training and getting new people and showing them the system and how it works. So when doing that, we actually just kind of had an oopsie when training someone new. They were pulling string or the pigtail, which is what we attach, and you pull it, and that's what shoots the round. So it's like a 6 foot long lanyard. Um, well, when you're in there, we teach them to only shoot at the chief's command. They say ready fire while throwing their arm down because it's so loud in there. They need to also see that visual confirmation. Um, but with a new guy, they obviously don't know all these rules. So I was trying to help them understand what we need to do, and I think they were a little overwhelmed. And when I was pulling the firing mechanism over in front of the breech, um, so that the primer could be shot, he pulled the string right as I got it pulled over, so that giant metal tube recoiled back about 4 feet, smacked the back of my arm really hard. Had my hand cramped backwards for a couple days. Uh, it was super uncomfortable. I really thought that it was just going to be a big bruise for a while. But then a couple weeks had gone by and I couldn't really put any weight on it. And then I go in, get it checked out, got an MRI and everything through the VA, which takes an eternity. And finally got the results that I have TE and TFCC. So basically, it's like a few ligaments in your wrist. They basically all got stretched at the same time. So I don't have a lot of elasticity in my wrist. So it's kind of just like a limp noodle on my forearm right now. So now it's casted to kind of strengthen those tendons again and allow me to use my wrist.
Hmm. Is it painful?
Uh, with the cast, I can't really move it at all, so no. But when I try to move it inside of the cast or something, or that wrist rotation, yeah, um, it makes working at FedEx really difficult. Obviously, I drive and deliver packages, and now I have to do it with one arm. Um, but I make it work.
Hmm.
Something funny is a cool story.
Yeah, it is a cool story. Thanks for sharing. Ethan, I'm curious, what do you think people often get wrong about you?
I would say that people maybe when when you're around a bunch of other Red Scholars, or even in high school, I was always really intimidated by the accolades or achievements that other people had. You see those things and you're intimidated in the sense of like, oh, well, how could I ever be that good, or how could I ever achieve those things? Um, that's exactly how I felt before I applied or while I was applying. But look at me now. I received a scholarship. I'm here now, and I've started to achieve those accolades for myself, things that I can be proud of. So I think that people might misjudge or see incorrectly. Seeing, like I said, I've made it into med school, or I joined the army, some things that I'm very proud of, or may sound kind of difficult. Uh, they see those things and think, you know, how could I do something like that? Or like this guy must be like really smart or really on top of things. But I don't want to say that I'm unorganized or messy or anything, but life throws a lot of things at you. And it's difficult to balance all those things. But if you know that you've got a support system like we do here, and you've got goals to be something better, you don't need to be intimidated by all these things that other people have, because it's just going to come at the pace it's meant to. I mean, there's a plan for us all. And if just follow what you believe in and what you want to do and those goals, you're going to be able to achieve them, especially with support that I have, like the Red Scholarship. So that I can achieve those things too, that anyone can achieve those things too, and that seeing someone else having something great shouldn't deter you from thinking that you can.
So, for the listeners who may be kind of wavering between, am I good enough to apply? Am I doing enough? What advice would you give to people hoping to apply for the scholarship?
Definitely, I would say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, which is a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. I mean, you look at the scholarship and the requirements you need to apply, and there's a couple reference letters and a couple essays, but you might be like, oh, well, I don't want to write these essays. It's too much work. But think about the amount of work it would take you to earn $100,000 and pay for school. So not only are you only paying for school, but with the Red Scholarship, you also just get a foundation in a family that it does so much more than just pay for your school. Like um, the amount of friends that I've made through RUD, and the amount of peers or even professional like development that I've gotten through RUD, as well as just the support from the staff. Obviously, it just makes a world of difference, and it's worth way more than the money. Um, so writing a couple essays and getting a few reference letters isn't much work for that at all. And if it's your self doubt that makes you scared to apply, having those doubts is just completely normal. It's inevitable, and that's what everyone goes through every single day. When you look in the mirror, you're always going to find something to nitpick at, and a majority of the time, no one else in the world is seeing that, um, but you. So, really putting yourself out there and taking that chance, putting in a little bit of work for a huge potential reward is it would be silly not to. And to have those doubts about yourself and apply and then still potentially earn that scholarship is going to do a number on your self esteem, your confidence. I mean, everything. So, I mean, every Rudd Scholar that I know, including myself, had those doubts and thought, there's no way I will ever earn this scholarship. And we all did. You know, you put in the work, you earned it because of the person you are. And every single one of us had the same doubts that everyone listening probably has as well.
Ethan, can you remind us when the application opens? What day is that?
The application opens on October 1st.
Anything else on your mind that you want to give our listeners?
I just want to tell you guys to be courageous. Um, don't doubt yourself, or even if you do, just put that foot forward and take that chance, because that chance could change your entire life, just like it did for me and everybody else around me. Take that chance.
All right, everybody. This was Ethan Shea having a conversation. Everybody give a round of applause for Ethan. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you, Tony.
Yep. That's it, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day.